could talk about this for a very long time, and I've made a video about this in the past, but Plato's Stepchildren is my favorite episode of Star Trek. It's one of my favorite episodes of television, period. And the reason is because of its themes. It's about humiliation and how the simple act of not having control over your own body is an indignity in itself to one's humanity. And they have a really good visual metaphor for it because there's a tragic Shakespearean character named Alexander who's the main person that the crew comes across. He's a little person, as he is the bottom of the pecking order in this society, which is such a good visual metaphor for marginalization, being powerless, feeling small, how abuse can make you feel. But he turns out to have all these great qualities in himself. He has power in a different way. That's why he's named after Alexander the Great. This is also interesting because you see how values and history and good ideas, namely the works of Plato, could be the inspiration for a society, but they're bastardized and corrupted and used to a very selfish and exploitative end, which is why they're Plato's stepchildren and not Plato's children, which is another really great addition to this story. The torture scenes, they're not violent, they're not graphic. In fact, they're very silly, but they're still very visceral, they are uncomfortable to watch, and they put you, the viewer, in this state of uncomfortable, It puts you in it gives you that visceral discomfort when you're watching it, when you're watching the crew go through it, when you're watching Spock forced to emote, or Kirk being turned into a horse, and McCoy, who can't even do anything even though his job is to help. And the rest of the episode is spent taking you out of that visceral, uncomfortable place. It helps you process that pain. Literally, the next scene is the crew taking care of each other, checking in on each other, and offering various solutions on how they can process the worst thing that's probably ever been done to them, having their agency and their humanity taken from them, having agency of their own body stripped away. It's about how some people need to process quietly, some people need to let it out, you need a support system, but you really can't take all this out on other people because it isn't good for your close ones even though they want to help. But having that support system, having people close to you, and having the space to process or distract or affirm your humanity another way, that's all very effective in how to process some of these awful experiences. Even the interracial kiss is Uhura saying, hey, I trust you to help us get through this. They're both under the telekinetic control, but they get through it. There is such a high level of trust and safety and support with the crew of the Enterprise that they can get through pretty much anything, even when their overlords are turning them into flesh puppets and going, now kiss. It's also interesting that societies like this can justify their abuses in so many different ways. In many societies, it was who was physically stronger, who was the greatest warriors, but in this society, it's the power of the mind, because nerds can be just as mean as jocks. But this episode does such a good job affirming one's humanity and giving a voice to this marginalized group. Again, through Alexander, him realizing that he has power all along, even if he's not telekinetic, that he is worthy of respect, he deserves respect, and he deserves to be in a society that celebrates him. So the crew ends up finding a place for him where he can have that dignity, where he can be an equal in society, and that's one of the best things about Trek. That is the best thing about this show. It's respect for humanity, it cares about humanity, it gives a lot of different groups their dignities and their humanity and their flaws and their wants. It gives them a degree of power in their lives, and that is why I love this episode so much. It affirms that everyone deserves respect, everyone deserves power in their lives, everyone deserves agency, everyone deserves to feel great and important and contribute to something and be in an environment that celebrates them. And for that is why I love this episode so much. That's why I love Star Trek. That's why I love classic Star Trek, because it understands humanity and it encourages us all to live long and prosper.